I had asked you a few weeks ago to start watching The Flight Attendant. Me and the wife, we absolutely adored the show, but so we recommended it to you, and was actually surprised by your response, which
I was gonna say The Flight Attendant or an advertisement for vodka, because that's what it is. I don't know how many shots you see of her like hold the little even is it even Smirnoff too, isn't it?
oh
Like
yeah, no,
it's literally got a shitload of Smirnoffs or whatever. And that always
right.
cracks
Like
me up.
I don't remember, there was like a scene where she was either flashbacking or she was in her head with the dead guy, and what was his name? Alex? Yeah.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah.
So, and she was flashbacking about being a good person or something, and her entire like pantry was full of
Yeah, I
things
remember
that she had
It was
stolen from the
Yeah.
airline, and all these little plastic vodka bottles. And it would seem like there would be like some sort of inventory management on the
Right.
airlines where they'd be like,
Some
"Hey,
sort
we're
of
missing
issue. Yeah.
we're
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 missing tons
missing
of vodka here.
this particular flight to Malaysia seems to be missing $2,000 in alcohol every other week." But no, you're absolutely right. I liked it because it was Kaylee Cuoco is obviously she's trying very hard to get out and break the mold from sitcom, the Jennifer Aniston route, as we want to call it.
Because I had no idea what the show even was.
Well, yeah, HBO Max was definitely, this is a vehicle for the new streaming service, and the trailer doesn't really tell you a lot except for that you kind of get the idea that it's a dark comedy, involves Kaylee Cuoco as a flight attendant on an international flight or airline, and that there's like she wakes up with a dead guy, and then there's like chaos ensues thereafter. I was looking for a new series to binge watch with the wife. I watched the first pilot episode. It was intriguing.
The pilot definitely was intriguing.
Well, I was looking for a passive fail on Kaylee because I was looking for what I like to lovingly call Kaylee Cuocoisms. She makes like this duck face on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And, those kind of... And let's be honest, Penny from Big Bang Theory was definitely like an alcoholic. Would they ever talked about that either? Because the girl always has a glass of wine in her hand.
Too it was funny we were talking about how different her character was from being Penny, and Penny in Big Bang Theory, she's such a supporting kind of background character, but a lot of her traits, the attachment or disattachment or disassociation with men is prominent with her character, the flight attendant, and then her being this like alcoholic was also prominent with her character in the flight attendant, but obviously it's her own show. Right. It's kind of interesting too, because you said it's a black comedy, and I guess it is. And the show actually got nominated the Golden Globe for best television series for a comedy. And I just think it's funny because you think of what it's competing against, which is Ted Lasso, and it's not. This is not a comparison of the quality, but Ted Lasso is a comedy.
Constantly getting beat on the wings. It's because you're indecisive. You second guess more than a shitty psychic. The only African I know more imprisoned by their own thoughts is goddamn Nelson Mandela.
And then you look at this show and it's is this a comedy though?
No, it
doesn't really feel like it.
It's a comedy in, I would say, not necessarily scenario, but the narration. There's certain
Unless
parts of the narration.
Crying is funny. That could be funny.
The dialogue, or hey, my dad made me his drinking buddy at 14. That's funny.
Right. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah.
But
child intoxication. Yeah, that's great. Or picking on your son for being gay. That's hilarious. I don't know.
Jesus.
Get up. You're not hurt. Get the hell up.
Dad drunk and referring to you as the son he never had right in front of me?
Through and through, I think it's a drama. I didn't think it was a comedy at all. There are some parts I'm oh yeah, kind of funny, but
right. So I think rather than use dark comedy, I think the best way to call it is that word dramedy.
Right.
I think I should probably chill for tonight. So I'm gonna.
We're gonna.
That thing just looked at me.
So we find this character. She's Kaylee Cuoco. Her name is Cassie. Cassie, I think.
Yeah. It's Cassie.
And she's a pretty international flight attendant. She's got a cast around her. There's the the funny gay guy. There's the mom, the work mom. We all have them.
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez,
oh, my
right?
Goodness.
So, anyways, they have these supporting characters, and they all know that she's got issues, but they support her. So they end up in Bangkok, and on the flight there, she meets this handsome guy in the flight, this Alex guy, and I think the actor that plays him is from.
He's from a show. I don't remember what the show is.
Game of Thrones.
It's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'd read an interview because I've never watched Game of Thrones, so don't hold that against me. But
yeah, I just lost so many subscribers right there.
All right,
this guy doesn't watch Game of Thrones. What a loser!
I'd read somewhere that she was uncomfortable about the bathroom sex scene. There's a Mile High Club bathroom sex scene that they have after meeting. Immediately, chemistry flies. They go in the bathroom. She had never done something this intense before sexually. Kaylee Cuoco, that is. She asked him, and this guy apparently, like basically hung brain the entire time that he was on Game of Thrones. Like he was naked, balls deep, in every other scene.
Not to bash on her too, but it's like it was her production company that wanted this show too, and she's playing like basically like a sex addict. And so it's like it's kind of ironic that she's like, I don't know if I'm comfortable playing this show that I want to be in. It's kind of weird.
Her production company had put several books in front of her, and one of which was The Flight Attendant.
Which was picture books there too.
No, there's Where's
Waldo? Barney. Let's watch Barney. Let's do it.
There's a Where's Waldo out there with Kaylee Cuoco in the pilot.
There's a treatment out there for it with Alex Kurtzman ready.
Anyway, so she picked up this book, and no shit, she talks about it in the interviews. The several interviews she's done, that she didn't even read the book. She read the slip cover jacket summary and said, "Oh my God, I gotta sign this. I gotta buy the rights to this before Reese Witherspoon does."
Wow. Okay. Wow.
And she used that like in several. So I'm thinking that's a true story, because she was so worried. She said the first thing she asked her agents or production company is, "Does Reese have the rights to this yet?"
The first question out of my mouth was, did Reese Witherspoon get the rights to this book, The Flight Attendant?
So they quickly bought up the rights, and they sold them. They went shopping, and they found HBO Max. Back to the plot of the story. Her and this guy, they have sex in the bathroom, and he turns out the one guy that she gets chemistry on the plane also is sleeping in a luxury 5-star hotel in Bangkok. It drives
not a Motel 6. Not a Motel 6.
And drives an Aston Martin. He's not like a John Candy character from Planes, Trains, Automobiles. It's a shower curtain ring salesman.
Screw you! You spilled beer all over the bed. You smoke. You mess up the bathroom. Well, who let you stay in the room? I even let you pay for it so you wouldn't feel like an intruder, which you most certainly are.
And his family, which is a subplot to the main story, and kind of goes along with the story.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the.
His family's plot. Like some massive family that's into the mob, and they're the quote unquote shipping magnates or something.
Yeah, they ship. Spoiler, not spoiler. I guess this is kind of wading into dangerous waters, but they apparently do something with arms dealing that I guess that whole part was kind of,
it was just there for flash.
Yeah, it was because everybody was so was into the whole mystery part of it, and I didn't really feel like there was a mystery part to it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, and this is where we're obviously going to be into the critiques or positive or negative criticisms, and obviously I think you and I fared pretty differently on this show. As much as I loved all the acting and stuff, it's a very frustrating show at times. Like I said, I think we fared pretty differently on that.
I wasn't fleeing.
Yeah, the rest of the first class cabin crew waited as requested.
So anyway, so she goes back. They have this fabulous night of drinking, and they have sex a million times, which over this first season she refers to a lot. I think the total count was 5 times in one night. Good for you.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
They pass out in the hotel room. She wakes up next morning. She goes to she gets up out of the bed and goes to open a curtain. She's got blood on her hand. She turns around, and there's Alex laying next to her with his throat cut ear to ear, and he's blood all around him and stuff. and she has no recollection of it. She starts freaking out, and this is where I think you had problems with her. Is this becomes a show of what characters would never do in real life.
And they do, so they explain that she didn't want to tell authorities because in China, they would just hold her, and there was this somebody famous, I can't remember who the woman was, that she got killed.
It was the girl, the student that was in Italy.
Yeah.
And the guy got killed, and they held her.
They held her, right.
Like she was in and out of prison for like 4 or 5 years, and
right.
She was finally indicted and freed. And then after she set foot in the United States, they're like, "Oh, we made a mistake. We want to arrest you again." So now she's stuck here.
She was in Italy, and the murder thing, but she was innocent.
Are you talking about Amanda Knox?
Yeah. Did she call the police?
But she actually calls her best friend Annie.
Yeah.
Played by this magnificent actress. I don't think I've ever heard of her before, but I've seen her before. She's one of my favorite parts of the show.
Yeah.
Because she's just like this amazing, like strong ass character. She's funny. She's whimsical.
I told her to call me in an hour, and it has been way longer than an hour. And if she says the wrong thing to the wrong person there, then that the fuck.
She's
quippy.
She's supposedly a lawyer. You kind of get that going.
She to me probably would have been a better main character because again the problem I have with Cassie, which is Kaylee Cuoco's character, she just doesn't seem redeemable, and they try to make her redeeming by saying she's got she does have a very tragic backstory, but even still there's not like the thing where you're like, oh, there's where she's good, like she's charming, and she doesn't ever treat her friends the way you would think somebody would treat their friends.
Oh, you're concerned about me? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, that's great. Ask me about my day so I can tell you about the fucking hell that I went through for you.
If there's anything that I can do to help.
Megan, please stop helping, okay?
How about me? How do you forgive you?
There's some other reason that we are here fully fucking interloping on his actual grieving family.
Shane.
You wanted to go? I'm going.
Shane.
Get into it.
I mean, we do have real life relationships over time where we redraw lines in the sand, but this is ridiculous. Like there was some serious shit that went through the season,
right?
Especially with her friend Annie, that really, really, really crossed the line. So anyway, she calls Annie, and I don't remember. Did she call Annie after she cleaned up the scene?
Because during.
Right. She's making phone calls. She's making phone calls. She's connecting herself to the scene. She stepped on she broke a wine bottle. No, the wine bottle was already broke. She stepped on it. She got blood on the scene now from her foot.
It just was like a catastrophe, and it's like you're like just stop. And I mean it's one of those things where somebody's like, well, you've never been in that situation, so you don't know how you would react. And it's like, but I understand, but like the entire season is literally people telling her, Cassie, please stop. Don't do this. And she keeps doing it. You're like, no, like.
To wait at gate B31 after we're clear. Apparently the authorities would like to speak with us.
Cassie, that looks so bad. Why the fuck would you go there? No, don't tell me. Don't tell me why you would go there. I can think of like 700 well-intentioned but unwise reasons why you would have done that.
Stop. It's going to be okay. Like, you'll figure it out. And, again, that's, I guess, my biggest issue with the show is just, like, there's not... For a show, it's kind of trying... It's not... I guess it's trying to be sort of realistic. It just... That didn't really feel realistic to me, I guess.
We're doing on that plane.
And now you're getting on that plane? You could not do that.
The plane is where whatever's happening on the plane is happening.
The gist of the pilot was now she's carrying the guilt. She's scared. She's basically ran out of the hotel in probably one of the most surveillanced cities in the world.
Yeah,
100
million cameras or something. Right. It's stupid.
And so she runs out, and she's in this garb like if you went to, if there was a store for like disguises, like, oh, here's a disguise from an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
She just needed if she was a man, it would be the equivalent of like if she was a man, it'd be the equivalent of like a mustache,
right? Big
and
mustache.
Like the hat and like a hoodie or something. It's like here's this tall, beautiful blonde woman in an Asian city.
Right.
It's like, what?
And I'm like, did she wear that there? Because she had like the scarf and she had the big, you know, the huge, massive bug guide glasses and
it's funny
the trench
because
coat.
the FBI bring her in, they immediately know it's her. Like, it didn't work at all. They're like, "That's you, isn't it?" And like, yeah, I guess. Like, it didn't even work. So it was just goofy. I guess again.
Well, that was another part I always kind of forget about when we've talked about it is the FBI guys. They've got this partnership. She's a little more seasoned. She's got this young, wet behind the ears. He had like a weird name, Van.
Van White or something.
Van White, like
yeah,
Van.
It was
White.
like so on the nose. Like I know, like White's a regular name, but it's like there's so many points in the show when she picks on him for being white and not understanding her. So the fact that he's named White was just so funny to me.
Hey, real talk?
Always.
I like you, Van. But you have to know that you fit the FBI's male paling Yale culture to a T. I mean, hell, you probably had a lacrosse scholarship.
Like, it was just so on the nose.
And he's obviously chomping at the bit to get an arrest, and they land this from the State Department. They land this case, and they immediately go into questioning, and they want to talk to the flight stewardesses. Right. For some reason, I can't remember how they connected with the flight, or they wanted to talk to the flight stewardesses because I don't
remember how they did either.
Maybe that's something the FBI does. Is like, hey, well, this guy flew in there, so we'll ask the entire crew.
Might make sense, I guess.
So anyway, they, and that's what the first episode's about, is like watching her try to get past this, and for some reason she does. And at this point I was like, okay, so she's doing better than I thought she was going to do. And I'm not, I think Kaylee's a great person. I've watched her interviews, and
she has good pick in men too. She dated Henry Cavill.
Right. Well, and then she was with that tennis pro guy. He was a good looking guy too.
Yep.
So I was, at this point, I'm like, okay, well, she's doing definitely better, because I watch these shows, and I tend to watch these shows, these actors, and you and I have talked about this before, is when actors disappear into their roles.
Yeah.
And I know this is a subject for a later time, but a perfect recent example in my head is Bill Hader and Barry.
And Barry, right?
You completely forget.
Yep.
There's a couple times in a couple episodes where Bill Hader makes the Bill Hader face from SNL.
We caught that on that rewatch where you could tell he was trying to fight laughing in certain situations or whatever. But
so in my mind, the failures of this world when it comes to that particular subject is Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise. You go to a Brad Pitt movie to watch Brad Pitt fight zombies. Right. You go to Tom Cruise to watch Tom Cruise hang from a plane
and scream at people.
We are creating thousands of jobs. I don't ever want to see it again.
And scream at people.
I see you do it again, you're gone.
Wear your mask!
Wear your mask!
So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out!
You can't, they're so famous now that you can't get past the fact that that's who they are. Here's Kaylee Cuoco, and I'm like, is this going to be me watching Penny being a drama? In my mind, the whole time, this is going to be like, hey, this is what would happen if Penny actually got an acting job.
Right.
But Kaylee started disappearing in the role for me.
She definitely did. I think she did.
She was able to do a range of emotions, but I think the subject matter, alcoholism is obviously a very dark subject matter. So it's kind of hard to rub it to where it's a comedy in there. Again, and this goes with some of the other things that you were talking about with her, like where was her redemption coming? Because
and I don't feel like it ever came. I really don't.
I found out that I was almost offended when you didn't like the show, and then and then I went on Twitter, and HBO Max is on Twitter, and there's tweets coming out. It's like, if you missed it, you need to watch The Flight Attendant, and you look in the comments of that on Twitter, and there's it's like a 50-50 split. There are people like
hilarious,
garbage music, garbage acting.
I don't think the acting's bad. I think the acting's
the writing. You get to a point, or the 50-50 people liking it and not liking it. A lot of the comments I read was after the second or third episode, I thought it was garbage. I'm not going to watch it. It was garbage. And I wanted that for you. I wanted you to make sure you got to the end, because I think the last two episodes were very important. But it was almost like Anakin's turn to the dark side. It was just sudden. There was all of a sudden they waited too long to give you the
I agree.
insight to her redemption or why she even was what she was. And then there's like the last 2 episodes, and it kind of bounces in there, and you're like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's so effed up.
It's weird because it almost feels like the show is kind of sudden in the last 2 episodes, but it also kind of drags. Like, I was kind of like, I know Miss Tot was kind of like, okay, when's it going to pick up? When are we going to stop going from here to there? And then people say, hey, don't do this. Oh, go from here to there. And then the other part, which we didn't even talk about, is the subplot, plot B.
Right. You read my mind.
Oof, yeah.
And I told you that when I recommended the story to you, the thing that really caught me off guard and actually kind of pissed me off was the Rosie Perez subplot. Right. And I'm like, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, okay, does this have something to do with the Sokolov family? Right. Is there going to be like some massive
sort of connection,
aha moment? You know,
nope. She was great in the show.
She was. She absolutely was.
The writing did not support her at all. And basically, to get through this subplot B and give an insight, is she was stealing corporate information from her husband, who worked at blah blah whatever corporate company, and was selling it. And I don't want to
manufacturer.
Yeah, it was a defense manufacturer, and I don't want to ruin who she was selling it to.
Sweetheart, we do government contracts, right? They think it's computer espionage.
You kind of feel like, is this gonna, cascade into being part of this plot A, and it has nothing to do with it, and you're just like, wait, what? A lot of it, again, it kind of comes into there's some sort of common sense where you're like, if you are her husband who looks just like Anthony Michael Hall, and it's not Anthony Michael Hall, which is the same guy that played Kreese, young Kreese in Cobra Kai, by the way.
So you must be Kreese?
Wrong!
Right,
no. The guy that Kreese killed in Cobra Kai.
Right.
But he brought home his work laptop that he works on defense contracts and let his wife use it to shop on eBay.
From now on, no eBay with my laptop. Sweetheart, we do government contracts, right? They think it's computer espionage or something.
I'm like, you would never let your wife do that.
No.
That's a huge no-no. Like, especially with military and confidential information. It's just, I'm just going to stick this little USB in there. And I'm like, what? Like, and it was only for like $10,000 too. I'm like, that's not worth it.
The second season, which has been approved, is going to focus on that subplot and how Cassie's now recruited position or her role is going to help her friend Megan's character.
This is Rosie Perez's character.
Help her get out of the jam she's in, because now she's on the run. She's took off. She's running from her family because she's a bad guy or whatever. So yeah, that's what the second season is going to focus on.
It's funny because like, you think the CIA was sitting around like, all right, well, we this great kid from Harvard. We got another one coming out of Stanford, and we have a flight attendant that was accused of killing somebody. She can't keep it in her pants. She's a drunk, and she gets a bunch of people killed or almost killed. Let's hire her. Let's bring her on. That's a great idea.
No, absolutely. She's like, there was like several incidences where that girl should have gotten killed, and she
should
didn't.
have gotten killed or got other people killed.
It would have got everybody else killed. It was one of those. I need you to stay in the car. Doesn't stay in the car. I need you to stay on the plane. Doesn't stay on the plane.
Yep.
I need you not to get drunk. Drinks 15 little bottles of vodka.
Smashes alcohol. And that's the other thing is, obviously, hats off to Kaylee Cuoco. She looks like she worked out a lot. But I was sitting there as, somebody that has a decent amount of knowledge for health. I'm like, there is no way that woman is going to be that kind of shape. No. Downing that much alcohol.
No.
She didn't look puffy, or she didn't go Christian Bale into the role.
Alcohol is pure empty calories.
Right.
And you get pudgy from it. But you're right. She's But they did make her look bad. I mean, there were several scenes where she was a mess, especially towards the end where she was really fighting the belief that she was an alcoholic.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to be in this room. I'm actually in the wrong place for me. It can be hard. It is hard, but this is a safe space to share.
So overall, would you recommend the show? You've been pretty critical of it, but would you recommend the show?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I think I'd definitely watch it because even if you're like a Big Bang Theory fan, you're gonna want to see Kaylee do something different.
Right.
If you like those kind of like noir, not noir,
Yeah, like spy caper. I think it
like
is.
a
Like they
mystery.
try to say it's a noir or something.
Yeah, it has.
It kind of has that.
It's shot on location. It's shot beautifully.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
thought the soundtrack was decent. A
thought
lot
it
of people didn't, but there's definitely an element to it that makes you want to watch it. But it's not without faults, and maybe
Yeah.
they'll fix some of that in the second season. But there's definitely something there. I would definitely recommend just watch it, but you have to get past the first 2 or 3 episodes. I know that's a long ask for an 8-episode run.
It is,
but
it is an hour-long show. Yeah, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle ground because it's like there's not a whole lot of TV shows going on because of the pandemic and all that. So you're kind of trying to reach for something.
No, it's you're right. There's a lot of shows out there to binge watch. I think this is one of them. If you're curious about it, check it out. I definitely put it on my top 10 of shows I've watched in the past year.
Yeah. I guess new shows maybe, but then I mean that's so hard. But I mean, if you got, they've been pushing out a lot of like crap reality TV shows and game shows, so this is definitely better than that. And like it's a very frustrating show, but I think it's a well-made show. I don't think it's going to be for everybody. I don't think it's as good as Barry. I don't think it's as good as Ted Lasso or anything like that. But I think it's the acting's quality, story's serviceable, and it's a good-looking show. And I guess I would recommend watching it. I'm going to say a little bit of a hesitation there, but yeah, I'm.
Well, there you go.
Trying to think of how
there you go. The Nader Tot gold standard of recommendations.
The Nader Tot gold standard is, and then this is the word I use a lot. I think it is in quotations fine, end quotations. So if you want to watch something that's fine, I recommend it. If you're like I am better than that, I know a lot of people are, and I guess skip it up. But I think you are missing out on some quality performances, goofy scenes that are worth laughing about that aren't.
I know if I'm a viewer of yours and I'm sitting there looking at the screen going, should I watch this? And the guy goes, it's fine.
Fine.
That makes me want to watch it right now.
Right. This Nader Tot guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
It's fine.
It's fine.